Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so I'm at Haneda Airport getting ready to fly to Fukuoka. We'll take some watch footage in Fukuoka. What am I wearing? I'm wearing the Explorer 2, and this is the first time I've had a Rolex on my wrist in like months. It's kind of nice. It's fitting having a GMT function watch at an airport. But when I was setting it this morning, I realized something kind of interesting. You know, Clive has been talking a lot about fakes and he seems concerned. And when I was setting this morning, I realized this is a really hard watch to fake because the movement is something that is pretty much Rolex. I don't know if they make a movement that works in the same way, meaning you can pop the crown out to the first position and jump the hour hand around, and that's something that is tough to fake. Whereas if you're talking about, say, a sub, something like an ETA movement or a seagull movement would be good enough to fool a lot of people. So if you're worried about fakes and you go the GMT route, I think you'll be okay. Now, when I say GMT, I mean like GMT Master 2, the 3186 or 3185, which is what this has, movement that has the jumping hour hand. Of course, the older GMTs with the 24-hour hand and the local time hand connected might be easier to fake, but that could be one reason to go for one of the newer GMT Rolexes if you're worried about fakes. Kind of tough to fake a movement like this. Okay, this is a shot reminiscent of Archie. Alright guys, let's see what is for sale in the Chow shop. Alright, so here's a watch. Aura Bianco. It's actually, according to this, made in Japan. Quartz movement, mineral crystal. Price tag of 32,400 yen, which is probably about 300 USD. Comes with two different straps, a black and a brown. And it comes with this bracelet, which is kind of weird. Look at that. Like sort of like a free bracelet. Sub-seconds. I think I'll pass. Personally speaking, I think I'd much rather go for a Seiko. What else? Kind of a reverso looking thing here. Time? I believe it is. It's got the Japanese Airlines logo right there. And 160 USD more or less. And let's look. I'm almost 90% sure this is quartz. Yep. Quartz movement. It's kind of interesting because it is a dual time, but you notice that there are two crowns. So it really just is. This is in my hand. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, look at that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, so this is a dual time watch. So you can see it's got 2 crowns. So what it is it's basically just 2 quartz movements housed in one case, which is odd. It's kind of weird. I'm assuming there are 2 quartz movements in there. It's probably just like basically 2 cheap watches combined into one pretty mediocre watch. The last thing we'll look at is this Ultraman figurine for about $100. And when I first saw it, I thought it was a suit to wear because it looks like a suit. I mean, you can see the folded up plastic. It looks like a guy's in there, which is odd because it's a figurine, but they haven't sort of streamlined that. I guess it is a figurine of a guy wearing an Ultraman suit. I mean, look at that. Looks like a man's ass is in there. So there you have it. An Ultraman figurine for the hardcore fan. We'll pass on this too. What do you think? Do you like this Ultraman figurine?
No.
No? Sophie, what do you like? Do you like this? You like it?
No.
No? Alright, well, we got a consensus here.
Do you like it?
No, I'm not too fond of it. Okay, let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Some of you guys might not know what I mean when I'm referring to a jumping hour hand. All right, let's pop the crown out to the first position, and that's what you can do. All right, so if your GMT Master 2 or your Explorer 2 can do that, I think that's a good sign. And again, that's one reason why you might want to go with a GMT function Rolex, because that's a hard thing to fake there. Now, another thing you can look at if you're worried about fakes and GMT fakes is you can look at the way the hands are stacked. So you have the local hour hand is at the bottom, that one right there. And then second up, you've got the 24-hour hand, and then the minute hand, and at the top, you've got the second hand. So fakes apparently sometimes mix that up. Now, again, if you're going to go older GMT, that local hour hand and the 24-hour hand are going to be connected. And the way you make use of that 24-hour hand, of course, is the rotating bezel. So those would be a lot easier to fake. I think you just would slap on another hour hand, and that would be it. But that extra hour hand would, that fourth hand would take 24 hours to go all the way around. So again, that might be a little harder to fake. Well, we're talking about fakes now, so I might as well mention that another telltale sign, and I'm not sure if older Rolexes do this, but newer Rolexes, there's no movement of the date before it switches. Right there. Okay, so if you were to see this switching in real time, the minute hand would go all the way around, hit about, well, on this watch, about the 5, and it would switch, and you would see no roll of the date, whereas if it's an ETA movement, as it approaches the time to change, you'll see that number in the date window sink, and it sinks and sinks, and then finally it clicks over. So that's another thing. If you have a watch you're worried about and you see a sinking date right before it changes. That's not a Rolex thing. Rolexes, they don't move. The dates don't move. They just click over, and that's one of the kind of cool things about them. Now, again, I don't know about older vintage Rolexes. I don't know if there's any movement of the date just before it changes, but that is an ETA thing, at least. So there you have it. All right, let's get this back to where it was. Now, just a side note, when you're working with 3185, if I were to push the crown down now, it would not catch as nicely. I mean, I could push it down a few times and get it to work, but if you go from the back like that, then press it down, it's beautiful. It just clicks right into place, and you can wind it. All right, so all the more reason to go the GMT route if you're worried about fakes. All right, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.